What's up, everybody? I am Log from the R Buddies, joined today by Sluggle, and today we got the Antitan Direct. So I've been hyping this up for quite a bit. So today we're just kind of going over what to really expect for Antitan in this upcoming Firestorm meta. So today, but I'm going to wind it back a little bit before we get into Firestorm. And today, we're going to move on to Moonrise Antitan. We're going to go right from the start, way back in Moonrise. So, just to recap a little bit. Moonrise Antitan. So, we've had a ton of decks, but mainly there were 3 main builds of Moonrise Antitan. On top of that, we had one top 8, while being one of the most popular archetypes in all of Moonrise, eventually giving us the Chronodile allegations thanks to the law. So, we're going to move on to those 3 builds. Before I get to those 3 builds, I want to quickly shout out some of the other Antitan builds in Moonrise that we're not really going to discuss today. One being Carry Off Antitan was a very interesting build. There was Wasp Ivy Antitan. I wasn't a huge fan of that build, I'm going to be honest. And then there's that one person who brought Larvacell Antitan to a premiere event. Love that deck. That was awesome. But let's go over those 3 builds. So the 3 main builds of Antitan and Moonrise. So we're going to start way back, right when we're all prepping, we're deck building for Antitan, where it all started, and that, of course, was the belt build. So the belt build is a little saying that we came up with in the Insect Discord, and to really sum it up, belt stands for bugs of Earth, Lunar, and Thunder. You're basically just using these guys the entire time. So, to go over a list, this was my build that I did back in Moonrise before I eventually swapped off it. But just to go over it real quick, you got the 3-1-1 line of Antitan. Pretty solid. Then the 2 Viscerus. Third Vis, of course, is Moonrise. Third Vis didn't exist. Equalinks, because Equalinks is busted. 3 Rabbits, because it's Rabbit, it's busted. Elechick, because it's busted, because it's Elechick. Then the Toxions. I was a huge fan of the Toxions. This made the belt build. It was Toxion itself. Then, of course, it's early Moonrise format, so we're on the Nobby Doppelganger in main, and 3 Spectaris, making 20 Elestrals. It was a little hefty. But then, of course, after that, we had Earthquake, Hurricane, because it's the start of Moonrise. Everyone's on Hurricane. 3 Ambros, because it's Ambro. Laurels, Tsunami, PTA in main. Again, it's the start of Moonrise. We didn't know what we're building. 3 Shields, 3 Gorgons, and then 2 Demeter and Zeus. This really went into that tempo build of Antitan that we all pretty much know about to this day. But this is the start. And the side, I got a little silly with it in the side. I put both of the spiders in it because I love those guys. Warmite's awesome. Frostmite's awesome. Love those guys. I put the 3rd PTA in. I don't know why. Cryoblast in main in sideboard because Cryoblast is still a really good card. Boombats and Arcolith. My big thing in the Moonrise format was that if I had 5 Thunder in my deck, or any point in my deck, I'm putting in Arcolith in the side. Just because Arcolith is a crazy card. That was like my building philosophy. Then Spoiled Fruit, because Spoiled Fruit was pretty good. And then Fire and 2 Frost for the Spiders and Cryoblast. Eventually, and a really fun thing, this deck was actually really thought of by Spicy Sausage, and I was the real guinea pig of the deck. I was like, they gave me the list. I was like, all right, I'm going to go test this at locals. I'm going to see how it does. And I was like, I love every single thing about this list. This list is awesome. And we kind of went with it. And until eventually that this deck stopped working because this deck ultimately became a skill check deck. Like if your opponent like knew how to deal, like there's no real viable way to get out Antitan without Argos and altars. It was kind of just, if you got Vis out, it's just a matter of if your opponent is really able to deal with outing those Viscerus, which eventually Cryoblast becoming a huge thing in the meta. Yeah. This eventually just became a skill check deck, and everyone really went off it, but it was a really fun fact. At the Dallas Open this year, there was a player on stream who was playing the belt build of Antitan. That's a really fun fact. Then eventually after this, some of us went more towards the Bug Snacks build for Dallas. We're just cutting out the Antitan and just making like 5s, but with Ardbuds in it. It ultimately just became a worse version of 5s since Ardbud was essentially just a brick. But yeah, moving on to the next Moonrise Antitan build. It's of course the Turbo Ignector build. This is still a popular build to this day. So the list I'm going to show off was actually my top 16 list at one of the past premieres in Moonrise. So essentially the idea of this deck boils down to drop Ignector, swarm the board, protect those Ignectors, then drop Ardbud, and then Turbo Antitan through those Ignector drops. I went through more of a heavy fire build, and then in the side, I really leaned in more towards the the 5s aspect, which really helped a lot. Having Antitan out in the beginning and then smoke screening into 5s, honestly, that was pretty much why I went 5-2 in that tournament. And then Trish proceeded to tear this deck apart on stream. So for the sake of Trish's sanity, I made a revised version. It's just kind of looking better with this. Really taking some of his advice. One of the big changes I made is dropping down to 2 Fire Spirits, because the main thing about Ignector, you aren't casting Ignector fully. You just do 2 Ignectors, that's it. 3rd Ignector's too much. No need to. Especially going into this format, there's no reason to carry on the 3rd Ignector. Also, I threw in Rummagem because Rummagem searches Links. Links is still busted. I also added Demeter, all that stuff. Spectaris, I dropped down a little bit as well. I kept Lavalith because you're either going to Lavalith or get out your Ignectors. That's kind of my philosophy behind this deck. But then, lastly, there is one deck that top 8 this format. Never got the name because we always labeled it as Bug Snacks. So, Bean Soldier's top 8 list, which I called the Buggy Pirates, of course. With the use of Argo. So, this was Josh's list. It was a really solid list. Went undefeated in Swiss. Undefeated until losing to Dimax in top 4. This actually really went off the idea of, hey, let's go 2 Arbud and Rummagem if you're running Links to really search out a good amount of your Earth and Bug stuff. On top of that, adding the Werepup Lycovoid line. So I tried this on my own. I don't know what it is about me. I could never get Lycovoid to work on my own. It's just something about Lycovoid I can't get to work. And even with the new Antitan list, I had done testing with the new Lycovoid, and I just can't get it to work in main. I really tried. It doesn't want to cooperate with me. Also, this really stems off the Argo package, which, Argo literally became one of the best cards in the Moonrise format. Having that ability to search out Scythe of Demeter and Necklace of Harmonia. And yeah, pretty much combine that with Altar or Lynx plays, just easy ways to get out Antitan to really boost up your bugs, to disenchant and Siphon Ascend, all that stuff. Antitan Arbud effects. So, Moonrise out of the way. We're done with Moonrise. Before I get to the decks, though, I'm going to do a little thing. It's called the good old bug check. So I'm going to go over every single insectoid card that is added into Firestorm and rate them on the bug scale. This bug scale ultimately is designed to rate the playability with Antitan. So S tier, it is perfect playability. These are cards that are essentially going to be staples in most Antitan lists and just have such good playability with Antitan. A tier is really good viability, but essentially not as viable as the S tiers, really. You might see it once in a while because it's funny and all that stuff. B tier is just like it fits in, it can work essentially. Might not be the greatest, but it can work. C tier is like minimal, like this could work. It could be played in a list maybe. Like sometimes like it might be a card that's just teched in because it works with a certain card. And then D tier is just no viability. If you see any of these in D tier, do not play them with Antitan. You could try. It probably won't work well. Don't try any of the D tier stuff. So we're going to start, of course, with our boy, the new Viserys. I am sorry. I'm actually blocking this card. So let me center my guy a little bit. All right. The new Viserys. The effect. This Viserys gets +1 for each Viserys on the field, going off of the old Viserys effect. And while there's another Vis on the field, this Viserys is unaffected by opponents' counter ruins. Yeah, pretty good. But the issue that people have with this card is by the time this really gets out on the field, your opponent's got no counters to really use against it. I had a lot of mixed feelings about this card going in. I kind of wasn't a believer in the beginning. But now, like, sitting with it, I realized one thing about this card. It's the third Vis. Like, that's all. This is the third Vis. Like, come on. Vis is back at 3. And listen, if this is a brick in hand, you use Antitan effect to just get rid of it. You don't even need it if it's a brick in hand. It's a 5 as well. Like, it's a 5 attacker. If you have another Vis on the field, oh, look at that. Unaffected by counter runes. It's a solid card. Honestly, I think this is an amazing card. I really like this. This is my top 2 favorite bug in this set, honestly. It is really good. All right, but moving on. We're going to be talking about Spine and Spinosect. So some cards, if they really just, like, really work off with each other, I'm just going to combine them together into one tiering. So Spine Imp's effect is when you normal cast a Spine Imp, you can search your deck for Hermes, add to hand. You can disenchant 1 from this Spine Imp in order to special send into Spinosect from your hand or deck. And then Spinosect is when it's played, return an Elestral to your opponent's hand. It's Heliolith effect. But when it's sent from field to underworld, so with Hermes effect, Nexus up to 2. So the combo here is Spine Imp, search Hermes, Hermes Nexus over, and then disenchant, ascend into Spinosect, from your hand or deck. And then you get the other one. You have one under the underworld. You got another one out. This is actually like a really solid call. I really like this card in Hermes a lot. But really just to go off of, it searches Hermes. Hermes Antitan, I think, is a deck that could be played. It might not be as viable as the other builds, but it is a deck that can be played. It has a Nexus effect. That is huge with Antitan. Because of Nexus effects, you can ascend essentially off of one bug. But yeah, and you can also special spend like Spinosect into a Misenchanted and Antitan if you really want. I'm not a huge fan of those strats. You can, like there's, I mean, like if the opportunity is presented, why not? Having 11 attacker rather than a 5 attacker is, you know, a lot better and burns for more spirit damage. But yeah, my final ranking's a B because I think it fits solid into a Antitan Hermes build. Alright, Moving on, we got Warmite. Warmite, I'm a fan of. I'm gonna be honest, guys. I'm a fan of. Another deck that we also have cooking is Hestia's Antitan, and this card fits right in. Gonna be honest. But Warmite is when this Warmite receives one or more fire, you can target an Elestral and give it -3 until your next turn. When a player casts Hestia's Hearth, you can return up to 2 fire spirits from your underworld to your spirit deck. Fun fact about Hestia's Hearth. Each spirit you attach, it triggers Warmite's effect twice. So you can do 1 on cast, and you do Hestia's Hearth for 2 more. That is a -9 attack. This card's really good. I'm a big fan. Hestia Hearth plays. It gets more spirits on it, which you could use to get Antitan out through Arbud Arvarum effect, and it fits right into a Hestia deck. So I also gave it a B tier. It's kind of on the same tiering as Spy Nymph and that represented deck. But yeah, moving on. We got the other spiders. My genuine opinion on the other spiders in an Antitan deck. Don't play spiders in Antitan. Warmite's the only exception. If you want to play Frostmite and other Warmite, sure. Don't play the other guys. I don't care if Floracme searches lair. I don't like it. I'm not a fan of Floracme in Antitan. I'm not a fan of Kite Mite and Paracne in Antitan. Play spiders in their own deck. There's literally a deck to play with them. T-Fry, shout out to T-Fry, just won a small tourney with spiders. Play it in their own deck. Anyway, I gave the D tier because don't play it. Don't play these in Antitan. Bad idea. All right, Torchin. I have a lot to say about Torchin. I am looking for my water right now. Give me this. I don't know where I put my water. Anyway, I'm a big fan of Torchin. And I'll tell you why. Torchin is one of the only cards in the game that can turn 1 Antitan first turn of the game. All you need, I mean, you need a hand combo for it, but all you need is Hestia, Torchin, and Arbud. First turn of the game, cast Hestia, special out Torchin, make sure there's 1 more left on Hestia, and then you cast Arbud, search for whatever bug you want. Then Nexus the Spirit from Hestia to Torchin. Disenchant for Torchin. Go to Varum. Varum search a bug. Varum then destroys Torchin. And you get until you turn 1 of the game and your opponent can't do anything about it. Your opponent can't gaze that. It's a little like a hefty combo to do, but it's crazy. It could be done. I would love to see this happen because it's such a cool idea that can be done in this game. But yeah, and it has a Nexus effect. I don't know what else to say. It's not like as consistent as other versions we're going to talk about, but this gets an A tier. Honestly, guys, like in Hestia's Antitan, this card goes right in. If you're able to do that combo, it is crazy. It is actually crazy. Imagine it's like versing Blizz. Blizz gets Blizz out on turn 1. You're just like, all right, I can't do anything else. Same thing with Antitan. Oh, Antitan gets out. Oh, what are you gonna do? Yeah, exactly. You don't even need Hestia going second. First turn of the game, you can do this. This card is crazy. It's crazy. I'm a big fan of the Torchin. I'm a really big fan of it. All right, we're gonna move on. Big fan. Big fan. Ignector. All right, so this works off of the other Ignector. The only thing is you search your deck for Nog. I'm going to give my genuine opinion about this in Antitan. I hate playing Nog in Antitan. It just doesn't work. You're burning too much anyway to get Antitan out. Minimum, you need like 5 to 6 spears to even get Antitan out. You're burning a lot. So it's pretty bad in Antitan. I'm good. Like, there's some decks that can run Nog. Take Sir Tractor's Cryo Scorch Ranosect list, that could play Nog. I've been playing that list for a bit. That I love playing Nog in that deck because it powers up Cryoburn. Maybe like run this in an FTK build with Waspire. I don't know. But this is a C tier because like you can use it with Old Ignector. I don't like it. I'm not a fan. Sorry guys, not a fan. I'm a fan of the other Ignector, just not this one. Waspire. I have an age-old saying, and this kind of similar to my opinions about playing Wasp Ivy in Antitan, and it's don't play boss monsters in Antitan. It's bad. Don't do it. I don't see a reason why you play this in Antitan. There's zero correlation. If you want to run this Waspire, make it your own deck. I don't care. Just don't run an Antitan. I'm not a fan of it. You could run Arbud. Arbud searches bugs, but don't ascend off those bugs in Antitan when you have another brick in your hand. There's certain boss monsters you can run, like a Void you can run because it's like a Void. I don't consider Doppelgator a boss monster, but it's a 2-drop. But like, you know what I mean. Cards that don't, require you to change your whole deck to run it. It gets the D tier. Bad. Boo. Thumbs down. Big thumbs down. Flame offline. I'm gonna say like I said it with Waspire. Boss monster's bad with Antitan. If someone in chat thinks about it, they're like, I'm gonna run Flamemoth. I'm not even reading off these cards. You don't need to know. Not good with Antitan. I don't care if Charcoon has a Nexus effect. Don't play with Antitan. D tier. Alright, carry on. So remember when I said that Torchin is like one of the only cards that can turn 1 Antitan out, turn 1 in the game? Yeah, so you can do that with carry on. It just requires a lot more hand size. You need to start 2 Hermes and Arbud in hand. And it's way more expensive to do than Torchin. I like it. This is great. Don't get me wrong. Special cast is great. That's like what you need for Antitan to work good. It's not the most viable way to get Antitan out turn 1. There's other ways. It fits into Hermes Antitan because you could just special cast. I'm blocking this a little bit, but you could just special cast this guy out. But I gave it a B tier because I think it's solid. Like it'll fit right into a deck, and it's a way you can just special cast and get out Antitan easily. All right, moving on. Carry off. I only see this card as one thing, and it's just a tech option in Hermes Antitan. Like it's a removal card, pretty much. I do like this card a lot in Hermes. I think it's really interesting having just a free Earthquake basically with Hermes effect. Pretty much. An Earthquake that costs a lot more to do. It's interesting, but I'm giving it the C tier because it barely has like strats with Antitan, or the fact that it's also lunar, so it fits into that element. But yeah. See, all right, chat. Listen, our boy is here. This guy is so I literally put the stellar version because of how much I love this card. Spectaris, Champion of Artemis. All right, I'm gonna read this card off for you guys. This Spectaris can be special casted from hand with a lunar if your opponent has at least one suppressed card. Not Elestral, just any card on the field if it's suppressed. Listen. This is literally the best Antitan card in the entire game. I don't care what anyone says. This is literally the best Antitan card. This card is single-handedly saving this deck and making it so much better than it was in Moonrise. It's amazing. Very consistent, very spirit efficient. You only need 5 spirits to get into Antitan Turn 1, by the way. Turn 1. I love... Let's look at the format. Poison Nectar yesterday. Everyone was on Werepup. Guess what? Oh, Werepup suppressed. Play out Spectaris. You don't even need Artemis to play. You don't need Gorgons. You don't need Monsoon or whatever. This card's insane. Alright? Thank you, Mr. Elestrals. Everyone say thank you, Mr. Elestrals, for making Antitan. For making Spectaris. Amazing card. S tier gets the log seal of approval on the side. Like, I don't know what else to say. This is my favorite card in this entire set. I'm going to talk about it more. I'll talk about it more later. I'm going to save it for that. Very good card. Alright, Arachne's Lair. Alright, this is the last insectoid card we're going to be talking about. I really don't know where I put my water, actually. Alright, we don't need water right now. Arachne's Lair is fun. I like this card. This is honestly my third favorite card, my third favorite bug this set. I really don't know where I put my water. That's unfortunate. All right. Let's talk about great Ascension option, because you know what? You don't have to play. You don't have to normal cast a bug for it to work. But to explain for people who are wondering, just get this in your head. Just remember. But Ardbud can ascend from Lair, but Ardbud can't search Lair. But Varum can search Lair, but can't ascend from Lair. Remember that. That's just something to remember. It's that's like the only thing. Like, you don't need to cast a bug. It's a solid A tier. I don't know what else to say. Like you could fit this in if your deck's got fires in it. Why not put it in? Easy way to get Antitan out. All right, but that is all the bugs. Now I'm gonna move myself back over. We are gonna talk about why we all came for the Antitan list. I have put together 3 Antitan lists for everyone today, for us to really just think about, maybe play a little bit. I'm going to start off with what I think the 2 casual lists of Antitan are. We're going to start with those, and I'm going to go into what I think is one of the best lists going into Firestorm. So we're going to start off with Hermes Antitan. Alright, we were talking about it a little bit, but now it's time to actually get into the deck. What I think, how you should build Hermes Antitan. Big shouts to Decent Shirt. I was going off your list a little bit, and I kind of just wanted to just improve it just a tad bit. And this is what I think what we could go with. We're going with 3 Ardbud, 1 Varum, 1 Antitan. 3-1-1 is what you should be going with any Antitan line, honestly. It's solid. Like, you should not be playing 2 Varum. You should not be playing 2 Antitan. There's no reason to. They're just going to sit in your hand. They're going to break your hand. And then you're going to lose the game and cry because you decided to play 2 Varum and 2 Antitan. Bad idea. Don't do that. 3 Vis because it's Vis. Why not? And then Spine Imp. 3 Spine Imp. 2 Spinosect. I only put this in because it gives you access to the Hermes Trickery combo. If you don't know, you could what you could do with Hermes Trickery is you could basically get Spine Imp out, bounce a card to hand, and if you have Hermes Trickery in the underworld, which you need to Nexus over, you get out the other Spinosect and bounce another card back. You get 2 Heliolith effects in 1 turn. It's kind of nice. I like that. I carrying that idea over. Speaking of carry on. We were talking about that earlier. It's a special cast. Maybe you could go down to like 2 carry on, since they're searchable anyway. I kind of rushed this list. That's my bad. Listen, you guys can change these lists however you want. It's up to you. I also threw in 2 Daybreak specs. Because Spectaris is going to be really good in this upcoming format. It's an out to Like a Void. It's an option to deal with Like a Void. Great way to. And another option to deal with Like a Void is by playing the other Spectaris, the new one. You could, if you're playing Antitan, just fit this into like, if you have space, just fit this into the deck. It's a good card. Play it. It's good. It's a good card. And then, of course, the Ruin line. Earthquake, Laurels, Ambro, Tsunami. You got the Trickery right there. We got the Hermes. Gorgon, Shield, PTA. I don't need to say much about that. If you don't agree with the Spirit Mathing up there, I did this last minute and changed the deck how you want. I don't care. Then next, of course, we are going to go into Hestia. I am blocking Hestia. That is my bad, guys. Hestia and Titan. And then, so Hestia's Antitan. We were talking about this list earlier. Here's my idea behind it. It could use work. It could use some work, guys. Just bear with. Did I put Tsunami without water? Wait. Guys, please. So if you can, if you're playing this list, throw water into your deck. Don't play Tsunami without water, because that is a bad idea. Don't mind the Spirit Math up there. I did this last minute while I was at work today, and I had a Warlord Leo like help like set everything up, and I missed that part, so that's my bad. Thanks for pointing it out. All right, Hestia's Antitan. I put water into this deck, guys. We're good. No need to, I put the correct amount of water as well. No need to get scared. For this one, like I said, work this list any way you like. 3-1-1, because why not? 3 Vis, because Vis is busted. It's a tempo option. But now we have multiple different strats here. We got 2 Torchins, way to really get out Hestia. We got the Ignector line still. We're throwing Ignector back in because, hey, that's another way to out Antitan. We got Warmite with Hearth because it's a tempo option. Another way to get out Antitan. Lavalith because Lavalith is busted. I don't know why you're not playing Lavalith if you're on fire. Galaxies. I'm a big fan of Champ Galaxy. Maybe you could honestly throw in Eddie in this deck because, I mean, since you're not on rabbits, since you can't really aggro rabbits in this deck, it's up to you how if you want to play Champ Galaxy or Eddie. I just like Champ Galaxy. I think that card's amazing. Second favorite card of the set, honestly. I really like that card. And then 3 Spectaris because why not? You could probably drop it to 2. Do whatever you want. I don't care. And then, of course, the Ruin line. We got Earthquake. Didn't have room for Laurels. Doesn't matter. I don't care. Tsunami with waters this time, guys. We're good. Hestia's Hearth to play off the Warmites. We got Lair as well because you need to combo that. It's a way to combo into Antitan. Shield of Achilles. Great card. Gorgons, great card. I don't know what else to say about that. But yeah. And then lastly, what we all came here for. I'm blocking the guy. He's back there. He's back there. Suppression Antitan. I think this list, listen, it could use some work. It could probably use some work. I've been testing this list quite a bit. I went undefeated at a locals with it. I'll talk to you guys more about that. I didn't even drop a game out of locals with this list. With the version I built. It's so good. So, let's talk about yeah, I just realized that we are, we haven't been listening to, Elestrals music, so, my bad, guys. So, let's, talk about Suppression and Titan. So, this is what I think is one of the best lists going into the Firestorm format. So, let's talk about it. Starting off, 3-1-1 line, just because. 3 rabbits, 3 whales, 3 vis. Really good options. Whale also, Galaxy really works off of rabbit here. If you have a a rabbit just sitting on the field in defense, play Galaxy. Swap them to, and swap it to attack. You have 2 5 attackers now. One thing to notice about this list, and also going off Spectaris, because you need him. You only need 2. You don't need 3. You only need 2. And 3 Daybreak Spectarises. One thing to notice about this list is most of these cards are 5 attacks. You just have the ability now to just have a bunch of 5 attackers in your deck. And that's really where this like takes over tempo-wise. Going forward from that, Earthquake Laurels, they're great removal options. We're not on Argo with this deck, so we're able just to run free with Laurels if we're behind on tempo. Hurricane. I'm a big fan of Hurricane in this format. I think the idea of tempo is crazy. The idea of hurricaning, getting rid of all your opponent's counters is crazy with this deck. So now you're just able to enable yourself to get into Antitan without any response from your opponent. And now they had to deal with losing all their ruins. There's an Antitan on the board, and they gotta pray they top deck a Laurels or Earthquake. Cryoblast, I like Cryoblast in main in a lot of my decks. I think it's just a great way to turn tempo. I'll also talk about matchups more later, but it's great for the Like a Void matchup. 3 Ambrosias, because yeah. 2 Tsunamis, 2 PTAs, 3 Shields, 3 Gorgons. Get all the ruins in there. Just to set up a wall of protection. And then 2 Artemis. Some people are going to be mad about this. Listen, I know Artemis is not the greatest card, but I like Artemis in this deck because I'm able to control when I want to get Antitan on the field. I've been told by multiple people that throughout this game, cards are going to naturally suppress, maybe by Gorgons, maybe by versing Like a Void and all that stuff. I want to control when I get Antitan out. If I have Artemis and Arbutton in hand, I'm doing it. I'm going for Antitan because now my opponent has to respond to that. Like, and if they don't respond, I have Antitan out on the field and they can't do anything about it at that current point if they just let it go. Moving over to sideboard, I threw in Like a Void on the side because it's Like a Void. What else do I need to say about Like a Void? Like a Void is a really good card. I also gave it the option if I want to just completely side out the Arbutton and Antitan line. I have 4 that would just... I have 5 cards that just easily swap into it, which is good. I also added just the Owloon there as well if I wanted to just switch out one of the Earths if I'm siding out Antitan. I have 2 Boombats in here. Boombat is a great way of removal still. I think if you're really unable to out like insane big guys, that's a way to do it. I got 2 Monsoons. Shout out to the Monsoon fans. You guys convinced me. I love this card. I think Monsoon is an amazing card. Honestly, it combos with Champ Galaxy. It's another way to suppress the board. So you could just go into Antitan without Artemis. It's really good. I love that card. And it enchants the field. So you just enchant a bug. Do Antitan effect off that as well. I don't care. Do whatever you want. Yeah, full moon because it's full moon. Pandora's Box. I'm gonna be honest, guys. At my locals I went to, I only sided out one type of card in my deck that entire tournament, and that was Pandora's Box. I sided that card into the Bears matchup. Turn 1, that was my first, going second, that was my first draw. I literally dropped it, like turned, and I had Artemis Arbutton in hand. I got into Antitan. My opponent had no outs for it, so the only way out was to just rip Ursa Den. I had Pando's Box ready for the Ursa Den disenchant. It's insane, guys. Like, Pandora's Box stopped Medusa from destroying my field. I don't need to explain anything else. Majorsta's Pandora's Box is a great sideboard option. I put Mudslide in here. If you're versing artifacts, I think artifacts are still going to be big this format. I'm really stuck between if I want to keep only one, either Monsoon or Mudslide in the deck. I'm still stuck between those two. I do like those cards equally. There's great ways to run around them. First off, they both enchant Galaxy to do Galaxy effect, but you also have access to the Earths, and the Earth is able to enchant an Arbud to say search for another bug. Enchanted to a bug, enchanted to one of your insectoids on the field, and then Arbud effect on it. It's very flexible. And lastly, y'all are wondering, yes, that is Necrolith down there. I like Necrolith. I think it's a really fun card. Like again, it's for Like a Void. It's a way you could probably get around Like a Void. Maybe might not be the most viable. But also you could just drop special cast Spectaris, ascend over it with Necrolith. There's only one like suppressed on the field as well. It's a 7 attacker. It's good. It's a good card. I mean, it might not be as good, but it's a good attacker. But I want to talk about real quick about cards that I could see really going into this deck. I have tried a lot of things. I have tried Argo with this deck. It didn't work. I literally just drew artifacts all the time in my hand. I had no reason to run Argo. Especially if I'm not on Lynx and Demeter, which is another option you can run this deck. I'm also not on Altars in this deck. That's another thing you can add. Someone was mentioning in chat, New Moon was tested. I have tested New Moon. My honest opinion, Artemis is a better New Moon. If you're running New Moon, you're only running 2 in the deck, and if you really want to do the New Moon effect, you had to discard your other New Moon to do it, or you're running with the Full Moon. My original build had Werepups and Like a Void in main with Full Moon and 2 New Moons, so I have another way to search out New Moons with Werepups. I didn't like it. My hand at some point had 2 New Moons, Artemis, and 2 counters. I don't like it. Not a fan. You can try it, by all means. Try whatever you want. This is why I think it's a really good list. If you want another good list, shouts to Swolex. Went over the cards, went over this deck on stream as well. Kind of going off of Josh's build. It's just kind of swapping out the Like a Void, really keeping the Argo package. In theory, you're not really discarding with the New Moon effect. It's kind of just, you suppress it. But like, another thing as well is Artemis is literally just a better New Moon, because it suppresses, but it suppresses until your next turn. So rather than just having the suppress for the turn, and then, it's unsuppressed your opponent's next turn. And again, going back to Spectaris, Spectaris works when a card is suppressed on the field. Artemis can suppress any card. If you're versing Like a Void and you don't have Pandora's Box on you, if they're about to get something out, if you're going to get Majorsta out, you suppress Ursa Den. What are they going to do with Ursa Den? New Moon is the same. Oh, is New Moon the same thing? Okay, yeah. I just like Artemis better. I'm going to be honest, guys. Because Artemis, you're able to do it over and over again. You can attach as many as you want. Let's see. I do have a New Moon on me. I might have not read it fully, but I tried it. I'm not a fan. Again, try it how you want. Not... Oh, it's only Elestrals? Yeah, that's the thing. It's only... Yeah, okay. That would make sense. Because if they're literally the same text, that's insane. Artemis suppresses any card on the field. And that's also huge. Because you have more control in what you want to suppress. Again, like... I'm going to talk about matchups real quick, because in theory, just hear me out. This card has a good matchup against basically everything. Like a Void. This deck is honestly designed to just get around Like a Void, which, yeah, no, that's also true. Yeah, if Ursa Den is still stuck, yeah. But still, another thing, you can hit Zeus. What? Now they can still activate their stuff off Zeus. But like if you're versing the Zeus matchup, they can't disenchant to lower someone's attack. They lose tempo options. Anyway, you still have like the ways you can just work. You could suppress whatever you want. Okay, until your opponent's next end phase. All right. Technicalities, yes, but still, you get the idea. They're not going to be using it as much that match. But talking about matchups for a second, like a Void, Spectre, literally, like a Void suppresses its own card. Wereputs come out suppressed. Free thing to do with Spectre, so you don't even need Artemis to play. But also running Cryoblast in the deck. I know last time on the Our Buddies Bugs Cast podcast, me and Hunter Surge was mentioning it about that 50-50 situation that you're really put into. Cryoblast just pushes that 50-50. Listen, if you're against an Antitan player, you're gonna be like, "There's no way this guy's on Cryoblast." Like, they don't have the room. They don't have the room. Like, sometimes they might think that, but they're put into that 50-50 situation if you do have Cryoblast. So like you either just, pull the Cryoblast, you destroy the Werepup, or during draw phase, they just throw the full moon down and they get into Werepup on the field, and then you just go Antitan. You can Hurricane the backline if you have Hurricane in hand, and then go into Antitan with Spectaris and if you have Arbud in hand. In theory, it's good. I was also thinking about other matchups. Unfortunately, our only out to Majesty is playing Artemis. I don't know how good the new Majesty is going to be. Well, other than Laurel's Earthquake. Artemis, suppress it. That's kind of it. Unfortunately, listen, I have thought about Toxiri and Dense Fogs in this deck, and the only reason why I would play it is Majesty, and Toxiri is literally useless against Majesty. Because Toxiri can't even search if you get it out in the field, because it's going to be turned into a Water Elestral. But before I end this, I want to open this up to any comments. I know this is kind of a lot to take in. Like I said, these lists are very subjective. You can really play this how you really want to. This is how I play it. I really like playing tempo. This is how I like playing it tempo. This deck already burns a lot, and that's why I'm not an Argo, because it's already burning a lot. Like a Void's in the side, because Like a Void can still do Like a Void things. Listen, if you want to play New Moon, go for it, by all means. And I will say, if you're playing Artemis, please don't play Fawnlet. Please. Fawnlet's bad. Fawnlet's just, in this deck specifically, it's a bad card. There's no reason to play Fawnlet out. Like, you got rabbits. You'll draw into it eventually, if you really need it. Listen, if you draw into it, that's just the world saying go into Antitan. That's what I can say about that. But yeah. Anyway, with these lists, I think Antitan has a lot of potential this format. I think it's going to be looking good, especially so far how we're looking at it. It's going to be a lot of Like a Void so far, based off of the Poison Nectar tourney yesterday. But let me get your. Oh, actually, I do want to bring up what Hunter Surge just said. So, about other matchups as well. So, the fun thing about this deck, at least what I'm aware, is just think about it in theory. I didn't read the cards fully. Spinosect. If your opponent tries to Spinosect Antitan, they can't. Because Antitan is unaffected by cards if a bug's on the field. So, by like Elestral effects if a bug's on the field. That counts for War Mites. You can't just -9 an Antitan with War Mite with Hestia's Hearth, because War Mite's a bug, and that counts as a bug being on the field, and it doesn't affect Antitan. It's just, it has built-in protection into these matchups as well. Is built-in protection. Listen, spiders, that should be a really good matchup for Antitan. Because you don't need like a second Spectaris against Antitan. You could just eat one of their little spider guys. You'd be like, eat them, chew them up, go into Antitan. But yeah, that's what I had so far. I want to thank you guys for watching. They can OG carry on though. Actually, that is funny. That is pretty funny. Just pulled a reverse stellar Warmite where you, as you were talking about Warmite. That's awesome. Listen, what can I say, guys? Congrats on a Warmite. That's all I had for now. So thank you guys for watching. Make sure you guys subscribe to the Our Buddies channel. Next episode is dropping soon, so make sure to check that out. So stay tuned for that. But yeah, and also go use Steuben's Elestrals store link if you want to get that new full Gary's card. Pretty cool. All right, that's all the time I got. Thank you guys for coming out. Tune in next time for the next Antitan Direct when set 6 drops. So be prepared for that. I'm going to be prepping a lot more for that. So go out there, go play Antitan, have some fun, guys.